I've helped promote it the last 4 years.
Okay, so it got big when you got involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Mark Howard, Northwest legend. We had a huge discussion about him prior going on
Yes.
the air. Actually, your father-in-law, awesome guy. What he did for racing, the people around him. Find one person anywhere that Mark went to talk bad about him, and I'll give you $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to find that guy. I mean, Mark
There's
was.
nothing traditional about my small business.
See, there's what I'm talking about right there. See that? Who's the only person with their hands on a keyboard? Oh, Rex over here.
One other cool thing we're doing with the Wall Banger this year is it's going to be a double points night.
For the Iron Giant Series races.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
double points. So if you miss that one, you're out.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hurting yourself.
It's going to be hurting, yeah. And last year we had 30, I think it was 39 cars.
It was almost 40.
Yeah, we had a lot of cars there last year. We had 2 full B mains for that night.
Did you happen to see the in-car footage we gathered at that race last
Yes,
year?
I did.
Moxley? Was that awesome or what?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I saw myself go up over the berm sideways, picking up dirt and throwing out parts.
We had
That
some
was
really good
Mackenzie's
footage.
birthday or something. You had an
Yeah.
in-car camera.
We had one in her, we had one in Langen, and a couple other cars, and got some really good pictures. I mean, that was
Yeah.
some good video.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. I liked having Sam there. That was awesome.
Yeah, he's fun. Sam's a job, but
Yes.
he's fun.
And then our 4th race of the year will be July 7th, and that's the 20th annual Jim's Thrifty 100 at Sunset Speedway. And that's going to be an exciting race. There's going to be a lot of heavy hitters there. And
All you guys that are heavy hitters are going to be there. Now, let me ask you a question. I haven't got a chance to really compare the schedules. Is there any street stocks race anywhere else when that race is scheduled?
I haven't even checked.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
Because that just makes it a better deal. It gives everybody a reason to go.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, big money, 100 laps, pretty prestigious race.
It is.
It really is. It's one of the top 3 races for street stocks here in the Northwest.
Yeah, I mean, all these races are going to be the biggest races of the year. You know, it's going to be
No doubt about it.
It's going to be huge. All right, our next one is going to be Douglas County Speedway, the Street Stock Smackdown 50, and that's July 28th. There's a 3-week difference in
3-week
between.
gap. Okay.
Yeah, so there's 2 weeks off.
So now we're talking, this is Douglas County's an asphalt track. So you're taking the dirt cars to the asphalt. Last year, I wasn't there, but I heard there was a little bit of controversy with trying to get everybody on the same page. What are you guys doing this year to keep everybody kind of on a level playing field as far as dirt versus asphalt, tire rules? What's going on there? Because I know that was kind of, you guys were up against that a little bit, weren't you?
So we're still in talks with the Speedway down there. We're supposed to go meet with them in a couple of weeks. But what we're doing right now is, what the intention was to put them against us with our rules but not being set up for pavement, them with their rules but set up for pavement, and do a head-to-head race. What ended up happening was we had a few people who joined our association so that they could run our tires, run our rules for the motor, and bypass the rules for the track. Because of that, we had a few people that were really fast. You get the pavement cars all the advantages of our cars, and they ran off and left us. I mean, they were
over
really
a second
fast.
faster in qualifying, almost
Okay.
2 seconds faster.
Sure.
Yeah, so
A lap.
But
Yeah.
then I went
That's
back and
ridiculous.
I reviewed all of the times for all of their races on street stocks on their tires, and then compared it to all of the dirt cars on our tires during the race that we had that night, and we were all competitive within a quarter of a second. Very competitive. So what we chose to do was, if you want to run our rules, you have to run a dirt race, period. If you don't run a dirt race before that race, you have
DCS.
to, before the DCS race, you have to run their rules, their tires. So
What is their tire rule?
they have an 8-inch wide. It's similar to the
It's a
G6
9-inch treaded
9-inch
tire.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So
But
they
it's
can't. Okay.
similar to the G60s.
Sure. Is it a DOT specified tire?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it is. So the Douglas County guys, hey, that Wallbanger Cup and the Thrifty 100s right before that, if you guys want to come have some fun on the dirt. And then you guys can run our tires and stuff at your track.
Or come down to Medford and play with us. That is
Yeah,
a fun
Medford's
track,
fun.
and it's
Madras is fun.
a lot of room. Very, one of the things that we heard a lot of before the race in Roseburg was the pavement guys being worried that the dirt guys were going to be too rough with them. And the thing is,
I think you need to worry about it the other way around.
The other way around.
I think so.
And so the dirt guys are really afraid of running on the dirt because they think all we do is beat and bash each other. And the fact is that the tracks are wide. There's a lot of room for most of them, especially like the Medford track. You can go 4 or 5 wide easy. And so there's a lot of room to race, a lot of room to make mistakes without tearing up your car. And we tend to not tear up equipment as much as they do, So,
well, I'll tell you, Andrew Langen's pumped up about that. He says that's a solid plan to keep it competitive on the asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. I do.
And I want to see a lot of cars there.
I think you will this
I don't want
year.
to see our dirt guys get discouraged because those guys are so much faster.
Well, with the way the
I think
rules-
I see it as a challenge.
Sure.
I'd
Absolutely.
love to go beat them on their own track.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen it that way.
Well, we used to do that back in the day with the Outlaw 100.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that, taking the dirt cars down, and obviously Mark Howard and Robert Sprague and those guys, Jerry York and
Devin.
Clay Devin. Yep, he was another guy who was good on the asphalt, and Tim Devin.
Tim Devin. That's what I meant to say.
That's what I did too. So from DCS, where do we go?
We're going to River City Speedway up in St. Helens, and that's another 50 lapper up there. This will be the first time our cars will be up at that track. We were supposed to have a race there last year. I think it was in the beginning of the year, and we ended up having to rain it out because it was just part of that season. So I compromised with those guys, and we got one in August. Pretty much guaranteed going to be sunshine in August, and we'll be able to run that one. And those guys are excited. They're really excited to have us. They actually want us up there a couple more times. It's just hard to round up the funds and get the sponsorship.
Right.
Well,
that's another little bull ring, very similar to Sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Very similar in size and length.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to going up there and seeing what our cars can do up there.
Good deal.
So our next race is Coos Bay. We had a good show there last year. We had 22 cars show up last year, and David Kronk ended up winning that. And there's a lot of the cool part about that track is the sponsors that are down there. We had a couple guys when we showed up. They're all right. Who's the fastest guy here? And at the time, Yak was, obviously the fastest guy there. And all right, we'll give you an extra. I think it was $500. If you win from the back, we'll give you an extra $500 to win from the back. And the purse is already $1,500 to win.
So that made it $2,000 to the winner.
$2,000 to win.
Wow.
And so it was pretty cool to see those guys step up and do that during the pit meeting. So
we've got an actual question here on the Squares Truck and Chat line. Andrew Langen says, points go to the car or driver?
It goes to the driver. It's got to be driver.
Points to the driver. Okay.
Yep.
So you can't put your
match.
Right. So James couldn't put your number on his car to score points for you.
He can drive my car.
He can drive your car and score points for him.
It's got to be the driver.
Okay.
We're not going to.
Sure.
That's how it was at Lebanon. No, you
sure.
can put
that's how you
keep.
That's how you get the drivers there.
It's basically the IMCA rule when it comes to that. It's points go to the driver, not the car. Yeah. So
if you total your car and you got to build another car, you can, or you borrow someone's car or run it. That's fine. But it's got to be the driver.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
there you go, Andrew.
We're only running 8 races, so
right.
And there's 2 weeks in between every race.
And one race is a mulligan.
Yeah, and we'll explain that.
Yep. We'll explain that.
Everyone's going to have a mulligan race. If you don't show up to a race, that's your mulligan race. But your worst finish of the year, lowest points night, that's going to be erased off the chart.
So if you miss a race and you score a 0, you just drop it. So you're taking the best seven nights for each driver.
Best 7 out of 8 for each driver.
Out of each driver. And that allows people. There's weddings and stuff that happen in the summertime. There's this and that. There's some things you just can't miss.
Listen.
So
it's race season. You take care of weddings at the end of race season or in the winter. You want to have a baby, you do that in the winter too.
Yeah, the smart people. Yeah,
all right.
I know.
Okay, question time, because I know this is going to get asked. Does that include your mulligan race? Could that also include a DNF or being DQ'd?
Your lowest 7.
It's as long as
your lowest race.
Yeah, it's your lowest race.
So if I were to go out and race this and I won 6 out of 8. And then finished second on one of them, and then I was DQ'd on another, I could just mulligan the DQ.
Exactly. Exactly.
The idea is we're not professional racers, and more of our guys tend to be working out of their garage. So we know that things come up in life, like Chris said, and emergencies happen or whatever. We want guys to feel like I can miss a race, still hit the other races and still have a chance at that championship.
Well, and here's the thing: by doing that, throwing over the lowest, you're not going to change the outcome of the championship anyway.
Actually,
No,
it didn't change it last year.
It's not going to. Now, if you threw away the highest, each driver's highest, you're going to change it. But throwing out the lowest, I mean, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they hadn't thrown out the lowest, I would have never graduated high school when it came to the,
High school, Corey would have never made out of preschool.
Hey, I went to 4th grade 5 times. I'm smart.
You're so bright, your mom calls you son.
So our last
That's right.
race is the Iron Giant.
It's the 3rd annual. Well, they had that race before, but we brought it back 3 years ago. The Arnolds had that race when they had the classics years ago, and they ended up not doing it because of owner change and this and that. But we brought it back. Chris Knopfsinger. What he said.
Knopfsinger.
Call him Nafi.
My
He likes
buddy.
it. I call him Nafi.
Just call him Christopher.
We had an idea after we did the Wallbanger Cup because it was $2,600 to win that a couple years ago, and then they're like, "Oh, let's do a big race up there," and we ended up bringing back the Iron Giant race.
And it's an awesome race.
And
It's
it's
one of my
been-
favorite races of the year.
And it's been huge ever since, and I'm hoping to see a lot of cars there again this year.
How many did we have last year?
49 qualified last year.
49
And we
qualified.
had 56 the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that race is also a double points night. So we got double points for the Iron Giant and double points for the Wallbanger Cup this year. Those were our 2 biggest races last year, and we want to make them double points nights.
I like that. I do like that.
And that's just trying to change it up a little bit, something different this year compared to what we've done last year.
What do you think, Joel?
Double points is always good. You start drawing those crowds. I mean, you have the biggest
I'm a
races.
fan of it.
It makes those races more wholesome, mean a little bit more. I mean, kind of like racing a weekly show versus racing the beer cup or racing, custom trophy night like Farmers Cup or something of that nature. You've got those races that have that little extra pizzazz, and double points night's an easy way to do it for this series.
Yeah.
Draws more people out, draws more fans out, more drivers.
Right. And at double points, that's something that can change the championship right there.
It can. It definitely
And
can.
I like that. I do like it. 'Cause we did it all the time at Willamette with Claire. I mean, Claire would do it 3 or 4 times a year, double points.
When I first started racing Madras Speedway, they had Wayne Britton was the promoter down there, which is related to Evan Britton and Craig Britton. And it was I don't know if it was the last Saturday of the month or it was the first Saturday of the month. It was a double points night. You had every car there.
You had to be there. You had to be there.
You had to be there.
Yeah. If you're hunting points.
So, 5 times a year, how many months are in the year,
Right.
you had double points on that one weekend.
We did it quite often at Willamette, and there was times where it changed the outcome of the championship.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Last year's registration, we were trying to do it on the second race, so we'd allow the people for their home tracks, they didn't have to pay the registration. But this year we're going to do it. If you want to race at our races, it's a $50 registration right out of the gate. That's going to help pay. We're going to do a points fund. That's going to help us with the advertising.
Now, is that a one-time deal for the series, or is that each night?
No, that's just for the whole series.
Yep.
Okay.
We also, the entry fee is a little bit more when we show up, but our payout's better.
And that makes sense. You're going to be paying more out the back gate, so you might as well tag a little bit.
Yeah.
There too. It makes sense.
Yeah. And if you go to like the modified speed weeks and this and that, the entry fee is more money, but
Exactly.
the payout's better.
Right.
So
that just makes
and
sense.
it just makes it makes it easier on us to help raise the money also because there's a lot of money per race that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And you guys have expenses you have to cover too.
Yeah.
There's a
Every
lot
week.
to it.
Yeah.
Well, there is. People don't. Everybody says, "Oh, we should make a series. Let's do this. Let's go do that and work out the bugs like you guys have done." I mean, there is so much to doing something like that. People that don't know that are constantly saying, "Oh, we could do it better. We could do this. We did." Go ahead. You go try it.
I've said that.
Yeah. I think we all have at some point. Then you start looking at when you really start doing the research and breaking down what it takes to make a series successful.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people start going, "Oh, wait a second."
Well, and to that
Maybe I don't
point,
want
you're going to have people asking, "Well, can't we get a race at somewhere or somewhere else?" Elma is one. We would love to do another race. But the amount of funds that we have to raise
That's the biggest thing.
across
Any
the
series
entire
is money.
series